Welcome back to the Wrestling is Art YouTube channel. Today we're going to react to 10 insane bumps that WWE wrestlers instantly regret by WrestleMania. Go check them out and subscribe for more from them. And please subscribe to me for more of this content. Let's get into it, guys. Let's see how it is.
Pro wrestlers are known to be some of the toughest pro athletes on the planet. Wrestlers put themselves through unbelievable pain to entertain fans across the world, but sometimes they take a bump in a match that end up regretting. This bump usually comes from a high spot involving a weapon such as a ladder or a chair, but sometimes it can be a bump from a modified wrestling move, and the results of this modification are nothing but pain and torment. Join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 insane bumps WWE wrestlers regret doing. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists.
Yeah.
Number 10, Kurt Angle moonsault off the cage.
Oh, Impact.
During Kurt Angle's run in TNA, he was willing to do absolutely anything to entertain the fans, even if this related to performing a moonsault off the top of a steel cage.
Now, let me get into this a little bit. Perk Angle in TNA, man, was one of the craziest sights I've ever seen in wrestling history. Like, prime Perk Angle in TNA. Bro, you have never seen a machine in your life. That man was going crazy. And as a kid, I was like, what is this? Especially that moonsault off the cage. I remember seeing that as a kid, and I was like, whoa! Kurt, what are you doing? That's basically what I was saying. It's like, Kurt, what are you doing? It was craziness to see it. I can't explain to you how crazy that spot was. Like, I'm gonna rewind it a little bit, see what you think.
Fans.
Look at this on Anderson, Mr. Anderson. Ooh, crazy,
Angle had delivered this exact move
super crazy. But let's continue on.
back in 2001 in an acclaimed steel cage match against Chris Benoit on Raw, but the TNA steel cages were considerably taller. This meant that the bump Angle took during his cage match with Mr. Anderson in 2010 wasn't a pleasant experience for the WWE and TNA Hall of Famer. Angle revealed that this bump was so immensely painful that he developed arthritis in his toes from this specific bump, and he almost broke Mr. Anderson's nose. Number 9, Kevin Owens sent on to the outside. Former WWE Universal Champion Kevin Owens is well known for putting his body on the line in matches, but one bump that Owens took in 2021 wasn't one that Owens would want to relive anytime soon. Owens was wrestling Bobby Lashley on Raw in late 2021 when Owens attempted to deliver a flying senton onto Lashley to the outside of the ring. Lashley would move out the way and Owens landed in a heap. It was clear from watching Owens taking the bump that he was in considerable pain, and he later took to Twitter to state that taking the bump absolutely destroyed him.
Oh yeah.
I often get asked what hurt me the most throughout my career, and there's two specific things that always come to mind, but as of last night, there's a new answer to add to that list, because for some reason, this absolutely destroyed me. Number 8, Mustafa Ali, mid-air running knee. The Fastlane event in 2019 featured a tremendous WWE title match pitting reigning champion Daniel Bryan against Kevin Owens and Mustafa Ali. The finish of the match saw Ali attempt a high-risk move from the middle of the rope, only for Bryan to hit a brutal-looking running knee for the pinfall win. According to Ali himself, this is the single worst bump he's ever taken, and it's easy to see why. There's no way a bump of this nature is gonna hurt, and it was a...
Yes, like that's a crazy bump, but Mustafa Ali is one of the best sellers and wrestlers in the wrestling game. Quick side note, there's only 3 places in my mind he goes. New Japan in the junior tournament, in the Super Juniors, or like yeah, the Super Juniors for New Japan, TNA Wrestling, or AEW. That's the three places I see him going. And I would love to see him in New Japan, to be quite honest with you. I think he'd be sick over there. I think he'd be sick in TNA. I think he'd be sick in AEW. But the only issue is, are you going to put him in storylines, or are you just going to be a wrestler? And I think New Japan and Impact or TNA is the best options for him, because I feel AEW's got so much talent on their roster, and I mean so much that you barely see anyways. Uh, that you would probably rather see, because especially if you sign like a Shelton and a Dolph from that release class, um, I think it's better off if he goes like a New Japan or a TNA wrestling. If I'm being quite honest with you. And speaking of TNA, I'm thinking they're gonna go all in on like a Dolph Ziggler. To be quite honest with you, I'd like to bring him in. But let's continue on with the video.
A miracle that Ali wasn't seriously injured. Number 7, Cody Rhodes, flaming table bump. Cody Rhodes is
Now, before he gets into the flaming table bump from AEW, it was crazy, but you could tell like he had stuff on his back to kind of calm the heat down. But man, was that a crazy spot for AEW. And I think he had some burn marks on him because of it. Man, was it a crazy spot. And let's continue on, but madness that was.
AEW run was a mixed bag, and one of his most infamous moments in the company took place during a match with Andrade on AEW Dynamite in 2021. This was the notorious match which saw Rhodes perform a top rope inverted suplex on Andrade through a burning table. The issue here was that Rhodes landed back first into the flaming wood, whilst Andrade was virtually unscathed. The spot looked totally ridiculous, and it made Rhodes look completely incompetent. Rhodes' back looked like a mess, and he was evidently in an unbelievable amount of pain. Rhodes would discuss the dreaded bump during an interview with Comic Book, and Rhodes would label the spot as the dumbest thing he's ever done. I'm going to try and keep my language somewhat clean, but that was maybe the dumbest thing I've ever done. And it was cool. Dumb, but also what a good image in the terms of just how we do Dynamite. Number 6, Seth Rollins' fall from Hell in a Cell. Whilst the non-finish ending to the Roman Reigns vs Braun Strowman Hell in a Cell match in 2018 was severely disappointing, the match itself did feature a memorable spot from two people who weren't even in the match, those being Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler. Rollins and Ziggler would take a huge bump off the side of the Hell in a Cell, and Rollins, during an interview on the Dan Le Batard show, claimed that the bump was so painful that it made him question his professional future. I've taken a couple of falls off the side of a Hell in a Cell structure, and I've fallen off the side of that a couple of times through our announce desk, and the most recent, which was 5 or 6 years ago at this point, I thought, that was it. I'm never getting up. That's the end of it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to move my legs after this. It was so painful, I thought. I don't know if I'll ever be able to wrestle again.
Yeah.
Taking a huge bump off the side of the cage that I didn't need to take or want to take, and it wasn't even my match. So no, it was not worth it at all. It was a terrible decision. I wish I hadn't done it. Number 5, Matt Hardy, Event Omega from the top of the steel cage. Even the leg drop looks rather basic as a move. It caused significant.
I can't imagine how much pain Matt Hardy goes through, especially wrestling at his age now. And like that story I heard about his back being fused with his butt bone. Like that leg drop to me, when I see him do that, hurts me like bad, because I'm like, dang man, you're compressing even more. But it's crazy to see Matt wrestle still, and oh man, my childhood, the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, tag team wrestling, the triple threats, the TLC matches. It's crazy seeing how all of them are really moving now. Like Edge and Christian can still move because they didn't take so much damage in matches like that. But Matt Hardy and Jeff are considerably slower than they used to be, and the Dudleys the same way. Um, Man, I can't imagine the pain he goes through on a daily basis, man. Let's continue on.
Significant damage to the wrestler delivering the move. Legendary wrestler Hulk Hogan has spoken at length about how much impact delivering the move had on him and even wishes he picked up a different finisher. Some wrestlers have taken the leg drop one step further by performing the move from the middle or top rope, but Matt Hardy decided to perform the move on top of the steel cage. Hardy was wrestling Edge at the Unforgiven event in 2005, and the finish of the match came when Hardy performed the leg drop from the top of the cage. It was terrifying to witness, and the consequences of this bump were very severe.
Oh yeah.
Hardy revealed on Twitter that the bump has led to his lower back and pelvis fusing together. This maneuver was called Event Omega, and is most likely the reason that I've recently learned that my lower back and pelvis have started fusing together. Number 4, Kurt Angle Modified Chokeslam. There's one specific bump that Kurt Angle took during
I
his
have
career that
never
is labeled as the worst bump he
heard of
ever
this one.
took. Angle was wrestling Kane on Raw in 2002, and Kane would chokeslam both Angle and referee
I've
Charles
never seen that
Robinson
one.
simultaneously. Robinson executed the bump of a lifetime and landed awkwardly on Angle. Angle took
Okay, that makes tons of sense. If you have a ref or anybody land on you when you're getting that choke slam, I can understand that bump being crazy bad on like your ribs or your stomach. Yeah, I can't imagine. It's crazy. Let's continue.
Twitter over 20 years after the match with Kane to discuss the bump, and Angle had a rather comical comment to make. My match against the Big Red Machine Kane. This is the worst bump I ever took in my career. Referee Charles Robinson landed right on top of me. I thought I was gonna crap myself. Number 3, Mankind Royal Rumble chair shots. Two legends at WWE.
Oh, buddy. This, you would never see chair shots like this today. But man, was this a classic in its time. The Rock and Mankind, I Quit for the championship. Man, he took so many chair shots to the head. Oh my, he just wouldn't give up. Mick Foley, he just wouldn't give up, man. Mankind, I just loved that. I loved that match at Rumble. Um, one of a kind is Mick Foley and The Rock. Let's continue on, but man, that was crazy.
I did at the 1999 Royal Rumble match as The Rock took on Mankind in an I Quit match for the WWE title. The match is one of the most talked about matches of all time, mainly because it was featured in the movie Beyond the Mat, but it also featured Mankind taking some of the most sinister chair shots ever seen in a WWE match. Mankind took a total of 11 unprotected chair shots in the match itself. Knowing what we know about CTE and the impact of chair shots to the head, the match hasn't aged well, and it's insanely hard to rewatch the match again. It's evident from Mankind's face in the Beyond the Mat documentary that he regretted the drastic spots in the match, and seeing Mankind try to explain to his kids why he was receiving medical attention was certainly an emotional watch. Mankind has admitted that the match went too far when it comes to chair shots, and it's unbelievable to think that Mankind took 11 of the dreaded chair shots and was still in a position to wrestle a few short days later. Number 2, The Undertaker, the infamous jackhammer. The Undertaker had a career that lasted for...
Oh, is he about to talk about the Saudi Arabia match? One of the worst matches. I mean, it sucks to see because Undertaker is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And Goldberg concussed himself before the match. Hit his head on a locker like he always does. Gets a little blood drop. Gets a little concussion. And then goes out there with the concussion. And he... Okay, I'm going to be quite honest with you. Goldberg can barely and has never been known for his wrestling ability. He's been known for his moves. Very few in between. But he's known for a jackhammer and a spear and a kick. Kick hurt Brett, and the jackhammer hurt and concussed both. Brett got concussed by the kick, and Undertaker got concussed by the jackhammer. So what I'm gonna say here is he doesn't have a great track record when it comes to in ring. Is he athletic? Of course he is. He played football, but as he got older, Goldberg, it's harder for him to compete in the ring if you don't have him in there with a younger wrestler. That's the only way he succeeds. Like the Dolph Ziggler match for him. Ziggler was selling for him. That's what you gotta have in in a Goldberg match. Either that or get a freak like Brock, who's not old, but can still work a bit in there with him. That's how you book a Goldberg. Don't put him in there with an older wrestler. And we saw, and I love The Undertaker so much, one of the greatest of all time for me. I hate to say this, he didn't look great in his Roman match. He he started getting slower and slower in the ring, and his just in ring ability started drastically going down in quality. And it just was not a good mix of them two in the ring together. Of course, their age and how they were moving. Let's continue on. I'm pretty sure that's what he's talking about.
3 decades, and in that time, the dead man took some truly terrifying bumps. The Undertaker's landed on his head
Yep.
at WrestleMania 25. He's fallen through numerous tables, and he's even been chokeslammed through the ring. However, when it comes to the 2 bumps that the dead man regrets taking, none of these illustrious bumps were mentioned. Discussing the worst bumps of his career on the Pardon My Take podcast, the WWE Hall of Famer mentioned delivering a flying DDT to Yokozuna and the notorious time in which Goldberg dropped him on his head in Saudi Arabia.
Years ago, I was working with Yokozuna, and I'd give him a kind of a flying DDT. Now, Yoko at the time probably was closing in on 600 pounds, his body weight. And when he hit, he hit like a half second before I did on the mat, and it drove up a piece of wood that caught me in the ribs and snapped 2 of my ribs. That was yeah, that was pretty painful. And obviously, I've had a few recently. You know, the bump that I had in Saudi when I was working with Goldberg over there. I think that one was, I don't know, probably it was a couple of inches from being probably catastrophic.
God.
And you know, I think there was just a lot of the way I hit on that one. I mean, there's like, it kind of sent out nerve impulses to all my injuries at once.
And number 1, Jeff Hardy swanton bomb through a table.
Oh yeah.
Wrestling's resident daredevil Jeff Hardy has made a career out of high-risk moves, and in 2021,
Okay. Hoover, I'm pretty sure this. Oh man, I don't want to get this wrong because this is one of my childhood matches that I loved, like an underrated banger for me. Was I think it was like Falls Count Anywhere at Extreme Rules. I don't remember the year, but Umaga versus Jeff Hardy, underrated banger. I enjoyed it a lot, very much. So the jump off the trailer, crazy spot. Going down those steps and clotheslining Umaga, amazing. Loved the match. Let's just continue on, but man, I can't speak as highly as I can't speak highly enough of how much an inspiration to so many, and even me, Jeff Hardy in the ring was, man, in like a generation. So let's continue on.
Hardy finally revealed which bump has been the most painful. During an interview with TalkSport, the former WWE champion stated that a specific bump in a match with Rob Van Dam was the worst bump he's ever taken. In the match, Hardy was getting set to perform a swanton bomb from a ladder onto RVD, who was laying prone on a table. This spot was different because the table was lying in an unconventional manner, meaning that when Hardy eventually went through it,
Yep.
his head was going to smash through the hardest part of the table. Hardy would perform the move and RVD would move out of the way, so Hardy took the full force of the death-defying bump. Discussing the bump itself, Hardy would state, "That was the worst bump ever. If you're talking about the one where I went through the table vertical, it was just straight to my back, and oh my god, it knocked the wind out of me the worst ever. When it comes to the bumps that hurt the most as far as getting the wind knocked out, my lower back for the next few weeks. Oh, it was rough. I was like, okay, I don't think I ever want to go through a table vertically again, and I didn't. But I just had to do it. Just let me do it. I think it's going to be alright." And then when I went right through the framing to the floor, and wow, it hurt. But there you have it, folks. 10 insane
Yep.
bumps WWE wrestling.
Great video by WrestleLamia. I'm gonna give it a like, and I'm gonna subscribe. to the channel and put on the notifications. Um, but a great video. Can't speak highly enough of this video and just like the love them, love the wrestlers while they're wrestling, man, because the bumps that they are taking can be at times catastrophic for their future life. Okay, so just enjoy the matches and enjoy the memories while you're giving them, and it the wrestling won't last forever, like in the way of your favorites wrestling forever. Especially as soon as like if they're like daredevils, they can't keep it up like they once did. So enjoy them while you can. Um, give them their flowers while you can. Like man, this the thing I love wrestling. This beautiful art that you paint in the ring, the storytelling, the promos, the memories, the moments that you get from it. Nothing like it to me. Nothing like it. Nothing gives you that energy like it. Um, beautiful. It's beautiful art form. Um, like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. I enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Suggest more videos you want me to react to. I'm down to react to anything, movies, trailers, games, whatever you want me to do, within reason. Um, but I'm out of here, guys. Love to everybody. Have a great rest of your days. Peace.